All right, well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are back. I am your host, Chris Goglin. Welcome to my show. Been a little while since I've done a full one of these, so we're going to give it a go, make sure I remember what I'm doing. We are starting a little earlier than usual because I have to play a GEM PC match against Dan Tartaglione later this evening. So I figured I'd jump in and get my show done now, go eat dinner, come back, play Dan. And there happens to be an OCS game going on right now that we're going to jump into between Advocate and London Sean, the classic Court versus Hitco matchup. Court typically an underdog in this type of matchup, but certainly capable of winning the game. Hi, Belugo. Thank you for stopping by. So let's see what we got going on previously. Looks like we had some type of battle. Oh, there's Luke. All right, so previously we had Jabba in the audience chamber with Scum. Pondababa, Woof, Velkin Tazari, Mithronadu all went to the audience chamber. They initiated battle against, looks like Luke may have been there. Yep. So Sean went heavy early with just Luke. Scott dropped a pile of guys. Sean played Anakin Skywalker to add a destiny to attrition. Pretty much cleared most of those guys. Jabba died, Velkin died. And now Scott's about to get hit by Luke again. That was his battle, I guess. So now here comes Sean on his turn. He deployed Luke. He battled. Scott played a projective to make him pay 2, which Sean obliged. Luke swings. Luke hit Woof. Pondababa did add a destiny to attrition, which is not going to do anything anymore because there's no battle destiny. And Scott's going to concede. So Scott dropped a pile of guys on turn 2, initiated battle, lost half of his guys, and then just got counterbeat. So that's the bad side of what can happen to the court player in the Hitco matchup. If Hitco goes down with that early pressure and can really sort of dig into your audience chamber, and if court attacks and isn't fully prepared to deal with the counterattack that's going to come on the following turn, things do not usually go well for them. So that'll wrap up that game. We'll go back to the old GEMP lobby, see what's going on. Got a few casual games going on, but speaking of the things like the OCS, we'll take a peek for a moment and go look at the standings, see who's going on here. We've got a couple players that have finished all of their games, currently just shy. Kyle Kruger sitting at the top of the leaderboard here at 9-3. Typically, that's not good enough to qualify in prior months. Most months you need 11-1. Occasionally a 10-2 will sneak in. But almost all of the qualifiers last year it was 11-1 or better, and there were a few months we had multiple 11-1s where it came down to strength of schedule. So 9-3, 8-4 for Dylan. Probably not going to get there, although the level of competition is so high that all these top players keep splitting games and putting losses on each other. It's certainly well within the realm of possibilities. So, MHT right there could also get to 9-3. A lot of guys with 3 losses up here near the top. Coffee Pass, Drew 5-1. He's in a pretty good spot right now. Got some other guys down here at 3-1. Joe, Ricard, and Chad. Tarkin, that's Miguel. He's at 3-0. Stephen Morgan's at 3-0. So certainly, plenty of games left to be played. I'm 2-0 along with Bastion. So Desai picked up a loss earlier. I caught the end of that game. It was a hunt down Hitco matchup between him and Casey. They both just beat the crap out of each other over one site, and Justin ran out of guys first, I think is what, if I remember that one correctly. They both had about 12 cards left after they both had a battle. Everybody got killed. Casey took like 5 overflow as light side. They were both down to about 12 cards left, and then Casey deployed like 2 more characters from hand, and Justin had no hand. It was just like, yeah, I scoop. I got nobody left, which can certainly happen in that matchup. I mean, that really is Hitco, Hunt Down, Throne Room, those mains matchups. It's really just rock'em sock'em robots, right? You're just bashing guys into each other, seeing who can clear that site and cause some overflow damage, and take the game from there. Kind of just slants downhill for one side or the other usually. Most of those games are decided by whoever wins that first big battle and clears the site. So, but lots of still plenty of time to get into the OCS if you have started, if you have signed up. A lot of people over here haven't started playing their games yet. Remember, it's February. It's a little shorter month, so you've got 3 weeks basically from today. Probably a little slightly less than 3 weeks now to get your games in. But if you are interested in joining the OCS, if you haven't done it yet, all the information is right here at this handy little forum. Instead of having to charge 5 billion gold or whatever we used to do, now we can just make it private and have people go right to the registration link so they know how to sign up for it, which I think is pretty cool. So if you click this little guy here, this should take you right to the OCS forum. Hey, look at that. Bam, right there, OCS forum. That's pretty cool. Oh, I've got a private message. I will read that later. So here's where you can find out all the information about how to get a season pass for the OCS. Here's all the players who have one already. The event details should be right here. Remember, we're skipping a couple months. It's only 6 months this year. We've got the MPC coming up in April, so we're skipping April for the OCS because we're going to pretty much be chewing up a couple of weekends for the match play tournament, and we don't want competition and creating server lag during those events. Same thing in July. Hopefully by July we'll have a live event, but if we don't, that's kind of bookmarked where our next major would be. U.S. Nationals, North American Continentals, whatever you want to call it. Tentatively scheduled for sometime in July there. I think it's on the official schedule for July 15th, or that's the weekend they're targeting. If if we can hold it live in Colorado, I believe that's where it'll be. But currently, because of certain restrictions still in place, we're leaving that open for the OCS calendar. So it was very exciting to see the big announcement. If you didn't see that either, hopefully it's all still here. Organized play schedule, bam, right there at the top. What do we got going on here? All of the events, the event calendar, local play, the majors. And here's what we're looking for dates and MPC, April 23rd to the 25th. And then the finals will probably be on a following weekend. Yeah, this is going to have to be over 2 weekends again this year, I think. So tentatively, these dates. That's one weekend. Probably also the weekend before. I don't know when Easter is. It may run over to the weekend after, which would be the first week of May. Well, it'll be April 30th and May 1st, but we'll see how that goes. Then, Colorado right there on July 15th for Nationals, European Championship, and then the World Championship. Again, hopefully in person, just outside of Washington, D.C. You've got some other fun format events. You've got this Jawas in Love thing going on right now that Corn sponsored. We've also got the premiere to Death Star 2 event coming up soon as well. And you can find out more information about the Death Star 2 retro event is also right here and how to sign up for it and whatnot. Registration fee none. Well, that's cool. Qualifying, playing 10 games in this 6-week period. And then I guess they cut to match play. Yep, top 4 cut. All right, that's pretty cool. Premiere through Death Star 2 only, but please note, of course, that not all of those cards are coded into GEMP. Some things may not be coded, which may impact your deck building. And you can see that missing card list right here. Are Tractor Beams still missing? I don't know. That might impact your... Hey, look, Tractor Beam's still on the missing list. That could certainly impact... Why, hello, Chris Kelly. Well, you shouldn't have moved 1,500 miles away. Yeah, Captain Lennox. I don't know. He's a guy who works with Tractor Beams, so it's kind of a theme for a deck right there. Some other guys, some other cards. Frozen Assets, currently not coded. That's kind of a big one in the light side meta. Beggar is also currently broken and not working properly. I believe it crashes GEMP. Tractor Beams will be playable by then. Adam insists Tractor Beams will be playable by then, by April. So uh, thank you to Adam and whoever else is working on that. I'm sure there will be more than a few people happy who will try to play some type of Tractor Beam deck. But yeah, I mean, it's Premiere to Death Star 2. There are some real cheese-tastic decks in this format. Some decks that you're going to play or play against, and you're going to be like, this is why we have defensive shields. Because there's just some god-awful garbage. And some of it starts off the mind once you have learned objective. And it's usually a lot of light side, non-interactive decks. I mean, yeah, you can play Throne Room, too. Throne Room's always a thing. Dark side can play ROPS, where, they just grind the game to a halt, and you just sit there and staring at each other while they go drain for 1, go. Drain for 1, go. Which is better than Dagobah, who's just going to do some inserts and some other, visored vision, ping damages and whatnot. So, not the most exciting format to play, but for some people it is. Some people consider this to be the golden age of Star Wars, when, all of these different competitive, intricate, well-crafted deck strategies were all viable. So, and who had the right counter cards for the right cheese decks. So, see what else is missing here that might impact. Probably not too much else. Yeah, a couple of these corporal guys. I don't think any of them have a real impact. Aratech might have like a speeder bike deck, but I don't think Aratech does what we think it does. What does the... I can't go look it up because it's not coded. I forget exactly what the non-V Aratech does, but I think it makes them immune. Maybe the guys piloting on it are immune or something. Yeah, but there's got to be something else weird going on with that. And then you got some Reflections 3 cards, which aren't legal for that format anyway. So, Kier Santage was an interesting pilot who's got some weird text too. See if he ever gets finished. But not a lot of cards missing overall. Probably just under maybe 100 or so. 20, 50, 60, 70, 80, 88, 90, 100. Yeah, almost 100 exactly. Decipher cards that haven't been coded yet. So, with 6 to 7 weeks before the tournament starts, I'm sure a handful of these cards may squeak in. A Scramble Transmission, that could be in certainly one that I recall seeing in a number of decks in the late 90s. Well, it'd have to be after 97, right? Because that's when Special Edition came out. But yeah, there was something with this just using it to cycle cards maybe or something. But Frozen Assets is kind of a bigger one for light side beatdown decks, Beggar being fixed, all that kind of stuff. Obviously that's why there's a shield, and those cards not working also then gives Dark Side an extra deck slot or two because they don't need to play things like Main Course to cancel cards like that. Um, so yeah, so that's what we got going on there. So still time to sign up for that, of course. And then all this other stuff going on the old PC forums. Some cool prizes too for this that were announced. Prize support. We like prize support. Prize support's good. First place gets a Devastator in Japanese. That is a good prize. That is a hard to come by Japanese R1 of a very desirable card because it starts on the table in Imperial Entanglements. For a free tournament that costs you nothing to play in, getting a, I don't know, $50 rare, maybe? Maybe not quite that high, $40. Somewhere in that market. I don't know Japanese prices because we don't really sell Japanese cards because they're so infrequently do they really come up on the market. It can be kind of hard to keep them in stock and to gauge a price for them. So we in the PC store do not really sell them. Occasionally we get some that are part of collections that we buy, and usually those are used or damaged in some way. So they just end up being sold individually, separately, rather than putting them up in the PC store. We got some randomly Death Star 2 starter decks. All top 8 finishers get Ray's Encampment and the Ice Plains. This is the new top 8 foil for 2021. You also get one of those handy Reflections booster packs. These bad boys. The red packs that you may have seen making their way around the old Facebook. Got some very cool foils and stuff in them. The unlimited version basically just means that it does not have the limited Warren Holland signed cards. Warren Holland being the CEO of Decipher, the company that created our lovely game. He hand signed, I'm not sure of the exact count, a handful of cards, Thank the Maker, Sand Crawlers, that kind of stuff, that were randomly inserted to a bunch of those packs that were distributed to the European and American communities. Well, I won't even say that. We'll say worldwide communities because I know I sent one or two of them to Australia and New Zealand, and one or two to Africa. So we're covering 4 of the 7 major continents. I don't know of any. We don't have anybody in Asia currently. Drew was there for a little bit in China, but he's back in the U.S. now. And we don't have any South American players that I'm currently aware of. And then Antarctica, well, nobody lives there. So unless there's a research team uh, having a Star Wars tournament in Antarctica, which would be awesome, um, maybe we need to do that. Set up some. We got some scientific type people, right, in the community. Do you guys need to get a research grant to go study the effects of extreme cold and isolation on mental acuity? And what better way to do it than playing the most complicated card game you can find, right? So that's what's coming up in the old Star Wars universe. Pop back over. We got a Jawas in Love game going on right now. So for those of you unfamiliar with the format, Jawas in Love, they are running Constructed Jawa, which has an X list. Hunt Down V is excluded, ISB is excluded, Carbon Chamber Testing is excluded, and Force Push is excluded for Dark Side. Light Side cannot play He is the Chosen One, as Galaxy may need a legend. They have no idea we're coming, so they both sides lose 3 objectives. Light Side also happens to lose a couple of key cards in Walkling and Rescue in the Clouds. Rescue and Force Push, they have similar functions, even though they work completely differently. But they're in sort of in that same vein of getting cycling through and getting cards out of your deck a little bit. Um, and then Walkling being the key activation booster that kind of sets up a number of light side decks between the activation and the effect pull. So those are the cards that are excluded from that format. Let's pop into this game here. See what we've got going on. We got a battle. We like battles. We got a loaded up Falcon that's got General Calrissian with a Ray and an Admiral Radis as a passenger. And we've got a Finn. And General Calrissian it looks like he triggered a Rebel leadership from hand, which was grabbed to add a Battle Destiny. Hoth region. I think Hoth is technically Canada, actually, Jared. I think or some of them might be part of Hoth. I don't know. I haven't looked at the regional map in quite some time. All right, so Joker King drawing 2 Destiny here. Draws 8 plus 1, making it a 9. That will be enough to get rid. Does Vader cover 8 or 9? I always forget this one. I think he's only 8, right? He's only 8. Bam. So both guys going to have to die. And because he drew very low. What did... He drew Maul's double-bladed lightsaber, giving him a total battle destiny of 1. Finn's immune to less than 4. As is the Falcon. Finn being outside, huh? I guess slightly more power, as opposed to adding 3. He adds 4 if he's outside, and I guess that's a little risky, right? Because B-59 could have shot him, but I don't know. Maybe we missed something else going on there in the beginning. But that was Darkside's turn, so that was their turn too. Lightside did their usual setup with, guys in Falcon, and Darkside sent some people down to battle, kind of lost their own battle, and have now given Lightside a huge head start and a huge advantage. This is a game that previously had not gone very well for Huntdown because before Old Allies was errated, you could just cancel your own. Like they would basically just go camp up here at Jakku in like one site and just keep moving back and forth, and they would just drain at Jakku all day, while they used the objectives text to. If you control 2 Jakku battlegrounds and are about to lose force, you can reduce that loss to 1. So Darkseid would be paying 3 to drain for 2 or 3. Vader with his lightsaber at a good site, he's draining for 3. They would use the objective and reduce it to 1. So Darkside's paying 3 to drain for 1. Lightside is not paying to drain, and they're draining for at least 2 in space at Jakku with the Falcon. And it was typically, and with Rey out, Visage being suspended, typically just soaked up all of Huntdown's damage. Matchup has gotten slightly better because of the errata here, because now it's no longer to a force drain at a Jakku location, so they can't reduce drains at their own sites anymore, which is a good change. It's a very good change. But there's still enough manipulation and mitigation things that Old Allies can do. They probably still come out ahead, 2/3 of the time. We'll call it, we'll say it's, instead of being like an 80% win percentage pre-errata, it's probably down to about 60, 65, 35. If I had to give it a number. right, so Sean's got a Maul Lone Hunter. It's the guy you can take in the hand to redraw. Cancels Blaster Deflection, cancels Amidala's game text, which is great if Amidala's canceling Vader's game text. You cancel her text, now she's no longer canceling his. Vader gets his text back and can do stuff. Then he can cancel somebody else's text. All his game text canceling. But most importantly, his Weapon Destiny draws may not be modified or canceled by opponent. So, no using the objective to subtract 2, no I'm getting kind of good at this. No, I can handle myself. That's the card. The female interrupt. That cancels Weapon Destinies when targeting female characters. Can't use that. Um, not even like a Wisa or they're tracking us to subtract. And he also cancels Blaster Deflection. So this Maul has a very specific purpose, and he's doing some ground and pound. And when he's got a double-bladed lightsaber that can't be stolen and swings twice, he can hurt some people unless they are inside enclosed vehicles. That's typically what you need that guy P-59 for, who's already hit the loss pile. Falcon was maneuver 6, though, so you get a blind draw an Emperor or a Visage or something. Not the easiest thing to shoot on turn 2. But certainly lots of interesting decks in this Jawa format. You would think with Hitco, Legend, and no idea being excluded, then of course things like Yavin 4 Ops, QMC, Diplo, Watch Your Step, and Old Allies would kind of be your biggest ones. Technically, you could play Throne Room, right? You could play TIG. That's another good mains platform. Prophet, probably pretty viable. I would think there's probably, regular Hunt Down, Court are probably two pretty popular dark side decks. So a Prophet Court matchup could certainly be interesting. Making lots of rebels and aliens fighting over the audience chamber, but your guys are immune to None Shall Pass while Han is still frozen. So you can certainly get in there, do some Jedi Luke shenanigans, and start bouncing people back to hand and shooting people with Leia's gun, and could get pretty ugly pretty quick. But yeah, there's still a good assortment of decks that are viable in this format. You don't have to resort to things like MBO or Rescue the Princess. EBO probably still pretty good. Not having Walkling to pull Haven might slow the deck down, but honestly, probably not that much. I'm coming in quiet, Bill. Interesting. Anyone else having issues with the volume of my voice? All right, so Joker King does flip. He moves the bus here with Finn aboard as a passenger. You've got Rey. You've got a Rebel flight suit now on Rey. Once per game, piloting can cancel a non-immune to sense interrupt. So any type of potential, probably not anything from Maul in this situation, but like if Grievous were to show up and play a command to try and add a destiny or something. He used the Lightmaker to hold space. Hunt Down not known for much of a space presence. Certainly would be great to see like an Emperor shuttle package go kick the crap out of that. But Mara's going to get barriered here, and Sean's just going to go ahead and concede the game and give it up. He's in a pretty big hole, and he doesn't feel like he's going to be able to dig his way out of it. So he's just going to move on to the next match. The Jawa tournament, I believe, is unlimited games, right? That's what we were talking. You guys were talking about on a hollow table. Yeah, I think it's oops, series one. Maximum games. Oh, 10,000. So there is a limit. It's not unlimited. But I can't imagine anybody, even, Rando Cal over there, probably can't play 10,000 games in 28 days. All right. Maybe I'll just reposition my mic a little bit. Maybe it was a little drifted a little further away from my mouth, but I always feel like I'm shouting because I can't hear with myself with the headphones on. So I don't be like I'm screaming at you guys, unless I'm actually screaming at you guys. So yeah, we got a couple guys in the 30s right now. I know there was some discussion about whether or not the person who had the most points would be the person who had the most wins. And mathematically speaking, it's certainly possible if Dylan were to lose 3 games and Brad were to stop playing, that would put him to 95 points, and he would win with the most points, but only have 28 wins compared to Brad's 29, just because of the volume of. You basically have to be close enough, and then play like 3 extra games to make up each differential, each difference between wins here, because that was the 3-1 point schedule. Um, but yeah, lots of people playing some games here. 12, 21, 18, 15. Is there a prize for the person who loses the most games? Because that could be interesting too. Um, but yeah, still, this goes on through Valentine's Day, so it's not even a full 28 days. It's only 15 days. Rando Cal recently joined the playtesting team. There you go. What better way to break all the untested cards than to let the computer do it, right? Have a computer play. If Rando Cal could play against Rando Cal 2, um, just to see what kind of weird interactions we would get. So we got somebody waiting to take on an OCS game, and we got an OCS game that just started. All right, let's close this down, and we'll pop into this game for a little bit as well, and see what we got going on. All right, so we've got typical Twilight, like my father, but the third effect in this one is thrown back. So I'm guessing while it does also double as a temporary grabber, because your opponent can just pay 3 force to get their card back, still could slow them down, screw up their tracking, or just make them spend force. Um, but most importantly, it's once per turn. You can put a card from hand on bottom of use pile, so you can constantly keep putting cards back in between that and like my father. You can certainly set up, uh, you know, 2 or 3 very good destinies all in a row. Uh, Put a card back on the bottom with thrown back, then spend a force to play a high destiny interrupt like escape pod or out of commission combo or something like that, and then you've got 3 high destiny cards all right in a row. Something to draw 3 good destiny with, swing and hit somebody, and do some overflow. Uh, set up a perfect 6/5 for Sabak. Put a low destiny somewhere so you can neighbor in somebody and then draw 2 destiny that are really high. Lots of interesting things that you can do uh, to manipulate things when you're using thrown back and the like my father uh, together. Meanwhile, over here, Munchenka playing the typical hunt down V setup with the Hoth defensive perimeter. We've got the I am your father. We've got the many hunting you now. And then it went with the Imperial Enforcement retrieval card. The old Sith Temple entrance. This is not the site people usually play. It's usually the other one that we see. The one that's got the drain +1 on it. But initiating battles for free. And your first Inquisitor deploys -1 there. You get Lightside gets a once per game download a Padawan other than Anakin. We don't see a lot of Obi Padawan learner, so that's really just more of a Kanan Jarrus Ezra. I don't know if not a whole lot of Padawans. All right. So Munchenka's got the seventh sister, who's the best of the Inquisitors in my opinion, because of her ability to make the other ones immune to less than 4, including herself. Plus, she also gets the deck manipulation of drawing cards. She's armed with a Dark Jedi lightsaber, and now we've got the Grand Inquisitor showing up, who will also potentially cause some force loss. And let your guys follow if anybody moves away. Not really going to move from this site because there's going to be nowhere else to move to. Scott's got the Dagobah training area. I guess he's just floating that because I would have no idea how else he would get that out. He's setting up that mid-game Jedi Test 1 to cancel all their Force Drain bonuses. I mean, it is Scott, right? So anything is possible. I'm sure some of you may have seen this deck before, but who knows what's going on here. There's Yoda. Yoda at the hut, not bad, of course, because he does still subtract the 2 from attrition, which certainly helps keep some of your other guys alive longer. You guys who have that token immunity to less than 3, less than 4, like Rey, like General Leia, even Obi-Wan and Luke. And even with an EPP, a bad Destiny draw could be good enough. You know, playing against Huntdown, they draw Vader for Battle Destiny, and Yoda subtracts 2 from attrition. Now your EPP might get to live. It's just a drain at 2 for Darkseid because of the text on the Jedi Council Chamber. Non-unique lightsaber force drain bonuses everywhere are cancelled. That does work for both sides, so no Jedi lightsabers for light side either. But we got a drain at 2. This is the site I'm used to seeing. Force drain +1 here, Vader alone, power +2. And there goes Vader to the castle. I think Vader's lightsaber's in the lost pile already, so I'll have to lose a force to get it instead. Yep. he use his last force and move Vader to the adjacent site, and then lose the force for Visage. There's Prophecy. That moved when they completed that drain. And now it'll move back when Luke drains here for 3. And Munchenko's going to top deck those 3 cards. We see him lose an 8th Brother, a Blast-Door Controls, and an Altar. Non-V Altar. So we're going old school with the Sense Altar Wars. Prophecy moves. Scott just going right to his draw phase and just drawing a bunch of cards. He used with Ray at the beginning of the turn, then dropped a card, and now he's just drawing away. He found a rescue. I was like, wait a minute, like rescue's banned. I'm like, this isn't the Jawa format. Duh, it's because they're playing Hitco and Hunt Down V. I forgot we switched games for a second. And he'll drop a card back with Luke as well. So I'll have 3 force saved. But now we're looking at drains of 3 and 2. Vader draining for 3 at his site, and a drain of 2 with the Inquisitor on Hoth. But with only 11 force active, spending 6 to do 5 damage, pretty good. But if you need to deploy anything else, draw any additional cards, that's certainly going to make things a bit more challenging. But he did drain for 2 at the defensive perimeter, so there's no reason that he's to think he's not going to also. If you're only going to drain once, you drain for 3, not for 2. So Scott loses a bunch of ships in that sequence, including a couple R2 and red 5s. So I'm sure he must be setting up something interesting if he's got a bunch of 07s in his deck. And Vader gets a little backup with the 8th Brother. I say a little bit of backup, because this guy's only power 3. And when Vader's alone at this site, he's power plus 2. So really he added 1 power by doing that. And the Grand Inquisitor will get his own Dark Jedi lightsaber. Advocate's going to play Anakin Skywalker to relocate the prophecy. And Munchenko, who played There Is No Try, is going to try to sense it. So to save himself from losing to a drain of 1, One more to a force drain. He lost 3 cards. I mean, he makes his opponent lose a card in that scenario as well, but he still comes out behind in that series of events. So I don't like that move there. Um, you know, Prophecy moves. He loses 1 extra in this drain. He loses an icon as well, but it's going to move anyway when his opponent force drains here. So you're not like it's not like you're stopping it from moving. He only stopped it from being there before the drain to save him 1 extra force, but he lost 3 cards to do it. And yes, that's a good point there as well, Joker King. Congrats on your win earlier. Um, but yes, once per game, you can retrieve Anakin into hand and then play it and then move it. But instead, he's just going to drain for 3. So he drained for 3. Manchenko loses Enter the Bureaucrat from hand, which I'm not sure why, because that'd be the perfect time to play it. Would be right after your opponent drains you for 3. And then he top decks 2 cards off the top of the deck. we do get a mid-game Jedi test. Well, when you can't hold Menace Fades, what do? You do Jedi test 1. He drops Obi. He exchanges 2 cards from hand with Obi. He exchanges a Corn Horn and a Luke's Lightsaber to get Wars Not Make One Great, which is the one that makes you battle or force drain. You have to pay 1 extra force. So with battle plan out, these drains now cost 4 each instead of 3. And then he will retrieve that Anakin Skywalker into hand. And we got Kanan Jarrus Jedi testing with Yoda. All right, so let's do the math. You got to be greater than 12. You got Jarrus, who starts at ability 5. Yoda is the mentor who makes 1+1 to the training destiny draw, so that's 6. The 2 sites make 7 and 8. Basically, just need a 5. Not terribly hard to do, especially because Yoda, you can take the draw into hand to cancel and redraw it. Now, you only get 1 draw here as opposed to 2 that you get from mine, which you have learned because you're doing it the hard way. Manchenka not realizing he keeps adding to the force drain with his lightsabers, even though they don't do anything there. And he is spending 8 force here, trying to do as much damage as he can while he can, because if this Jedi test goes through, we're down to drains of 1 and 1 at both sites, while light side will still be draining for their 3. They'll keep Prophecy moving, but yeah. And the Bureaucrat only plays on opponent's site as well. That certainly is definitely interesting. That's true. You can't play it on your own site. Good point there, Andy Davies. Thank you for joining into the conversation. Always love to have newer people joining into the chat. And that pretty much took all of Manchenko's turn. And now Scott will just play a used 5 interrupt from hand. Put that back on the bottom. And now he'll guarantee he's going to complete his Jedi test. Darkside's certainly going to be... Now, Darkseid is ahead at this point. Uh, 21 to 14 in terms of cards down. So they have a nice small lead here. Their damage is obviously going to get very expensive. Hey, there's a Jedi Luke. He will accept that training destiny. That will complete test 1. And all 4 strain bonuses for Darkseid are now canceled. So now Darkseid's paying 4 for drains of 1, which is not a very good position to be in, but if that's all you have to work with, that's all you have to work with. If they have any spies or anything like that, or a presence of the Force or something, and could get to the Jedi Council chamber, that would be great to get some extra damage in. But Lightside certainly seems like they're gaining board position. The question is since they did just drain for 4 there, they're probably overall in a pretty good spot. And now they're the ones that can sort of sit back. He doesn't really need to do anything else at this point. Darkseid's other option would be to go over here to the Ewok village if they have anything, and then pull resistance. So now Lightside's paying to drain and only doing 2 damage. Darkside would be paying more to drain but doing the same 2 damage, and then if they could sort of ride out their lead, they would be okay there. But that lead did get cut into by that drain of 4 last turn, so probably the more likely option is you just have to deploy 1 or 2 guys here and then walk these guys over and throw down. But with only a 4-card hand, I don't know necessarily what Manchenka has to work with. And we've seen a lot of characters get top decked these last 2 or 3 turns, so don't quite know what he's got left up his sleeve. Could it be an Ellis? Maybe. Maybe it could. Manchenka's got 17 down, 4 in hand for 21 total. Advocate has 11 down, plus 8 in hand for 19 total. So pretty close in terms of life force counts right now. And Lightside is doing more damage per set of turns. What decks are you playing today? Because you're going crazy over here. I'm playing QMC, Dan. I'm going to set up Cloud City Celebration and retrieve 5 cards a turn, so I'll have no loss pile. Or maybe I'm playing Hidden Base, and I'm just going to lock the board down with the Baragwins, and I'm just going to keep retrieving, 2 cards every turn, so I always stay at like 18 or 19 life force, and just lock the game up and cancel all your drains on the ground. Or maybe I'm playing Jedi Testing, and I'm just going to do test 1 and cancel all your force drain bonuses. Maybe I'm playing Prophet. I'm just going to free Han, and then I'm going to retrieve 5 or 10 cards, because I'm not going to play the virtual slip on my Han. Actually, if you need to win by, I need to win by 17, so we don't have to go to lost pile counts, right? So I should just play throne room, because that wins by like 25 all the time, right? Even without wackling, still pretty good. All right, so Monchenko's got an Erica and a ninth sister. He stacks a card face down from the lost pile. Luke's game text is canceled for the turn. Uh, Advocate did not cancel that because he's not really worried about the battle that turn, because it was just those two guys against these three. Who cares if Luke's game text is canceled in that situation? You're just going to end up losing Ray anyway, right? Possibly Obi. But now things are going to get a little more interesting here, as Vader and the other brother, sister, what do we got going on here? We got 8th brother and 9th sister. Couldn't we have just given these people names? No, because they don't have names. Making you want to drink more. Hey, I gave you the option of playing at 5 o'clock instead of me doing my stream. We could have just gotten it over and out of the way, but you said no. You wanted to think about and try and theory craft what I might use. Um, so you really have no one to blame but yourself. Combat pod racing. There's another one for the list, right? Combat pod racing. Just retrieve all those cards. Use I did it. Retrieve like 4 more. I only have to put like 2 Jedi on the table, right? So I put like 9 cards on the table. Then I retrieve 11 or 10 between the pod race and I did it. So I'll just keep my differential at like 35. All right, we got a battle. No, we got a sorry about the mess. Sorry about the mess going after drawing a 2 and a 1. He's going to redraw one of them with Yoda, take Anakin's lightsaber into hand. He's going to get the Luke. Defense value 5, so he's getting rid of Erica. And now he's got the Anakin's lightsaber in hand, thanks to Yoda over there. So now he can deploy that on Rey. He doesn't have enough destiny to battle, though. And that could be a problem. He could save the lightsaber for his next battle. And he is going to battle. With only 4 force left as well, that's also a bit of an issue. But he's got 8 cards in hand, so who knows what kind of tricks we got up his sleeve. He is swinging at Vader. He's going to hit Vader. Vader is immune to sorry about the mess. He is immune to clash. So I don't see any way that Vader's going to end up getting excluded from this battle. He does have a Lana combo to protect Vader's forfeit, which will get stacked on the throne back, which kind of late in the game when you're doing some force denial with worse not making great and things, basically works just like a regular grabber. He pulled the weapon lev shield a little late to pull the weapon lev shield after the battle started, because weapon levs adjust. He's going to stack a card, drop a card down. Darkseid has not swung yet. You have to assume with 7 cards in hand, Scott would have something like a blaster deflection, right? So you got to kind of swing at Rey. Nope, he's going for Obi. There's the blaster deflection. It's kind of why you swing at Ray. Vader hits Ray. You cause the 1 force loss from I am your father. Maybe you got some tricks. He's going to play far more frightening to add a battle destiny. If you're Inquisitor in battle with a Jedi, Padawan, or Hatred card, add 1 battle destiny. Add 2 if it all 3. So just a Jedi and a Hatred card, no Padawan. Alright. Now this is a light side battle. Alright, they drew a 7, which will become an 8. But Vader will cover that because of the Lana combo. We get a 7th sister for Destiny 1. Draw number 1. Becomes Destiny 4 because of the objective, which I don't like. Oof. And a 0. It does make his total 6, but it gets reduced by 2. So it'll only be 4 attrition. Rey is not immune to that, though. Darkseid does lose the battle. They will have to lose a character. Lightside chooses to forfeit Obi, which the Grand Inquisitor will cause a force loss from. Jedi or Padawan lost from same site as any Inquisitor. Opponent loses 1 force. Little bits of ping damage there. Oh, 9 attrition, right? Vader doesn't cover all of it because Rey adds 1 to the total. Duh. Sorry, can't add. This is good, though. Helping to get my brain mentally prepared for this upcoming matchup. All right, so Monchanka's got 14 and 1 remaining. Advocate has 10 and 7 remaining. So Advocate has more total life force remaining at this point. But he is not causing any damage. Visage is hurting each of them for 1 on their own turns. He's going to stack another card to cancel Luke's text, and it will cancel his game text for the rest of the turn. Seventh Sister will cycle a card. He is going to pay 4 to drain for 1. Just to move the prophecy. Advocate loses his Odin combo. Guess he's not afraid of any weapons this turn. They're going to get a verify now. Well, did he do anything last turn, or is it still the 0? I would have thought he would have just picked up the 0. That's what he tracked for with the 7th Sister, was to pick up the 0. I just don't know if he paid for anything first. Otherwise, he should have a 4 and something, whatever the bottom card was that he put back, or used an interrupt or something first. Alright, so we got Tarkin. Not going to add a Destiny there, but does at least give him some more. Alright, so he's got another far more frightening, so he's going to add a 2nd Destiny here. Oh, it was the sister that he drew for Destiny, which became a 4. Scout's gonna crush this Inquisitor. And I guess what he's verifying is whether or not that bottom card was also a 4 or higher. Scott took the Blaster Deflection with Yoda into hand and caused a redraw. And then he's going to play a Clash. And he's going to exclude the brother, making him immediately lost. So now it's just Tarkin and one Battle Destiny. And that'll do it. Because Tarkin will die. Rey, at best, will die to whatever the light side draw is. And then Luke will be sitting here basically paying to drain for more than dark side would be. So interesting deck, kind of the same result. This other stuff over here had a little bit of an impact on the game, but at the same point in time, those deck slots could have been cards that would have just let him battle and kill more of these guys and kind of end up at the same point. So, but certainly always an interesting time watching something that Scott throws together. So, congratulations on picking up the win. And I think that's going to wrap it up for the show here tonight. It's about 6:15. I'm going to go grab some dinner. And get ready for my matchup against Dan. So thank you guys very much for tuning in and watching the show, even though it was a little earlier than we normally do. And I don't know if anybody's streaming the game later. That's up to them. But it should be interesting. It'll be fun no matter what. And I was roasting Dan a little bit in the commentary, but it'll be a good game regardless. And I look forward to it. And we'll see you guys soon. See you back here next Monday. Uh, Hopefully at our regular time, unless there's some other streaming matches conflicting with that. But I'll do it on my channel like I'm doing now, and we'll go from there. So you guys take care. Have a great night, and thanks for watching.